tragedy hit people at 1 a.m. in the middle of the night when they were sleeping in their beds, and then a massive magnitude 6.3 earthquake hit these old unreinforced masonry homes that collapsed by magnitudes that are even smaller than that. People were surprised in their sleep and homes collapsed with them. And so far the news are that at least 13 people are lost. Epicenter was roughly 27 miles southwest of Kulm in the Samangang province. And I've reported about an earthquake like that 2 months ago. Guys, the problem is with a disaster like this, we have to think about women and children because they're the last ones to be rescued, if rescued at all, from these buildings. I'll get to that a little later because that is really tragic. So no good news Sunday night from northern Afghanistan near the big city Mazar-e Sharif, densely populated. This is the tragedy of this earthquake. And very shallow depth. That means buildings are shaking stronger. People feel it stronger. And then at this high densely population that lives there, they're in homes built very, very poorly. Sandy soil, liquefaction, and then add to that the darkness of the night, being surprised in your sleep. What a horror scenario. Same unlucky constellation happened at the end of August, and it was dramatic. The pictures are still in the back of my head, guys, and now we have, unfortunately, new pictures. In August, the earthquake was only a magnitude 6, but 4,000 people were lost. So is this the benchmark for this one? Highly densely populated. The USGS survey has warned of severe or significant losses and potentially a widespread disaster. We will have a clearer view once the light is coming and we can see more. But a Taliban spokesman in the Balkh province, of which Mazar-e Sharif is the capital of, wrote on X that several people were lost, many people are injured. Buildings have collapsed, many injuries from collapsed building. Mazar-e Sharif is home to more than 500,000 people. And we are getting reports many of the city's residents were rushing to the streets as much as they could, right? Because they were so afraid that their houses would collapse. Unfortunately, Afghanistan is very prone to earthquakes because of its location on top of a number of fault lines where the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates are meeting. So it was a heavy shaking, it was a widespread shaking that was affecting several towns around the capital. Blocked roads, destroyed stores, collapsed homes. We hear that landslides are happening. Let's talk about the problem for women and girls. Men rescuers are not allowed to touch women other than the husband and maybe family. And there's little to no women that work as rescuers. So in the last earthquake, women were left behind under rubble. It was absolutely horrifying. And the rescue situation is already so bad because there for sure will be aftershocks. And rescuers in the last quake reported that new rocks were falling from mountains and landslides and from crumbled homes. So you basically have new damage or structures that are already heavily damaged and fully collapse with the next aftershock. But the problem for women that they're not being helped, that doctors are not treating them, this is their religious belief there, but it's a human tragedy for these women and for these girls. What the United Nations is reporting is that the humanitarian response to the disaster has been tempered by the Taliban leadership's ban on Afghan women staff members and contractors from entering UN compounds in the capital in Kabul. And that was effective since September 5th this year. And the UN says this ban is impacting us because of our women staff. They're not allowed to come to the office to work. And these are outside helpers. But in these villages, men were rescuing men and they were not rescuing the women. They were not touching them. I'm not talking about help from outside. These are the villagers amongst themselves. And that's so tragic, guys. And only women are allowed to provide health care for injured women. Should there be some women that were able to get out and they're injured. So they need to find enough women to do this work so that it can be in line with culturally accepted practices. So that comes in addition of destruction of basic infrastructure, which also affects women and children. Because if there's no bathrooms, no washrooms, they have to walk further to find something. They have to gather water. So what I heard from the last quake, there's reports of violence and they were walking through landmines. So an absolute disaster, guys, that not many are reporting about. And from the last quake already, satellite images have revealed that more than 649,000 tons of debris, that's 40,500 truckloads, still needs to be cleared. What this means for injured women in this earthquake, that means there is a prohibition on contact between unrelated women and men. Many women's wounds are being untended to. Some are left trapped under rubble after the earthquake. That has been reported in the last earthquake by rescuers. And there's a witness report that in one village of Andalukak in the Kuna province, the emergency team was hurrying to carry out wounded men and children. They treated their wounds, but a resident there, a 19-year-old girl, she says she and other women and adolescent girls, some of them were bleeding heavily. They were pushed aside. They said they gathered us in one corner and then they forgot about us. No one offered the women help. Nobody asked them whether they needed anything or even approached them. Another male volunteer who traveled to the area in the Kuna province, he said that members of the all-male medical team were hesitant to pull women out from under the rubble of collapsed buildings. The trapped and injured women were left under stones, waiting for women from other villages to reach the site and dig them out. But that was nearly impossible. All the roads were blocked with rubble and destruction. It was not possible. This witness said it felt like the women were invisible. So I will keep you updated about this, guys. Please give this video a like, hype it, share it with your friends, and please subscribe. I want to show you more if you click the videos here on the end screen, because a tragedy is in the works at Campi Flegrei, right where the epicenters of the earthquakes are. The earthquakes are lining up underneath a fault that is currently developing. And this crack gives magma an easier way to the surface, in addition to all the other studies that are confirming that the surface and the magma chamber are reconnecting. Bad news, guys. Watch the video in the end screen, and if you want to see what's happening on top of us, 3I Atlas is getting stranger. Now we have another anomaly that's added to the 8 existing ones, so we have 9 right now, guys. So click here. I see you in a second.